Deadpool Wolverine has a ton of cameos, and one of those cameos and will blow everyone's mind is Chris Evans as a Human Torch. His return not only is awesome to see as we love him as Captain America, but he's back to play Human Torch from the original Fantastic Four movies, released all the way back. But what if Evans' Human Torch return is more than just a nostalgic nod? What if is a key to unlocking the entire multiverse strategy of the MCU going forward? Let's break down this piece by piece because the implications are as huge as Galactus himself. But first, let's talk about that post-credit scene as we come to expect from the Deadpool movies. It's a perfect blend of the meta humor and the multiverse madness. The scene shows Deadpool himself presenting evidence of the Human Torch, all that he said about Cassandra Nova earlier in the film, and how this caused his death. It's a brilliant callback that serves multiple purposes. Obviously, it rewards attentive viewers who remembered Deadpool earlier claims. It plays with our expectations of what constitutes as proof in a world of infinite realities. And it leaves us questioning whether this footage is real or fake. So we're watching a video clip of Johnny Storm looking completely mad. He's in the cage when they're moving Deadpool and Wolverine, and also he's there with them in this long, painful journey. And he's going up on Cassandra Nova. We're talking a massive info full of hilarious insults and some serious insight. It's like the movie's giving us a bonus round of exposition after the main game is over, or in this case, the main event. So Johnny Storm as Chris Evans is revealing that Cassandra Nova is in fact the big bad, and he's telling us exactly how messed up she is. He's saying all these things about her powers and he's definitely not holding back. But the thing is that Deadpool is using this to say, hey, look at all the things that he said. It's okay that he died. But this thing is a total fourth wall break. Deadpool is aware that he's in a movie and he's making us question what's real and what's not. It's a classic Deadpool move and it's absolutely hilarious. But yes, Johnny's dead and it's a bit of a downer, but it's also a reminder. Besides the question of how hilarious and funny this scene and post-credit scene is, there's obviously more questions about if he's gonna return to play Captain America again like a variant, or if he may even see him again in Secret Wars playing the character of Johnny. But here's where it gets really interesting. What if this post-credit scene is actually setting up the next phase of the MCU when it comes to cameos and variants? Consider this. By showing Chris Evans as a Human Torch, Marvel is acknowledging the existence of the pre-MCU Marvel films in their multiverse, like Blade, Fantastic Four, and others. This is not just a fun cameo, it's a statement of intent. This opens the door for Marvel to potentially bring any character from any previous Marvel film, regardless of the studio ownership at the time. The multiverse is not just expanding, retroactively incorporating everything. Now let's dive deeper into the Human Torch appearance itself. Chris Evans' return into the role after nearly 2 decades is significant for several reasons. Number one, nostalgia factor. For many fans, the 2005 Fantastic Four was their first introduction to Marvel First Family, as well as superhero films back in the day. I was like 6 years old, so it's crazy. And now seeing Evans back in the role is a powerful callback to that era. But hey, obviously Evans has grown tremendously as an actor since his Human Torch days. His return to the role allows us to see how he might approach it differently now. And having Evans play Human Torch after his iconic run as Captain America is a delicious bit of meta commentary on the nature of superhero casting and the longevity of this franchise. But what if Evans' dual roles as Human Torch and Captain America are more than just a coincidence? What if they're a clue to something bigger? In this scenario, we could potentially see Chris Evans playing both Captain America and the Human Torch, perhaps even interacting with each other in a future film, or maybe in Secret Wars, whatever it's gonna be called. It's a mind-bending possibility that would push the boundaries of what's possible in the superhero storytelling now with the multiverse. But let's take a moment to appreciate the brilliance of this cameo from a production standpoint. Getting Chris Evans to return as Human Torch must have been no small feat. It speaks volumes about the pull that Marvel and Ryan Reynolds have in Hollywood, and as well as Evans' willingness to poke fun at his own superhero legacy. But what does this mean for the future of the Fantastic Four in the MCU? So we know that a new Fantastic Four is in development for the MCU, and we know that the inclusion of the Human Torch from the 2005 version could serve several purposes. It's a way to acknowledge the character so audience know who is Human Torch, who doesn't know it from the comics or from the films. It's also maybe setting up a multiverse storyline where different versions of the Fantastic Four coexist or clash, possibly in Secret Wars. Also, it could be a test balloon to hook the audience reaction to the idea of the Fantastic Four, informing us how they are gonna approach the new film. The beauty of the multiverse concept is that it allows Marvel to have their cake and eat it too. They can bring back beloved actors in familiar roles without undoing the endings that their characters have already had, like we see even with Wolverine. But now, let's take a moment to appreciate the meta nature of this cameo. In a film that's all about Deadpool crossing over into the MCU, we have a cameo that presents one of the most successful crossovers in superhero movie history. Chris Evans going from Human Torch to Captain America to now Human Torch again is just so awesome. Obviously, we know that they're gonna use this as a tool to incorporate other versions of other characters like we see in the film. And this strategy, in my opinion, could provide the best of both worlds. But the scene is so funny when we see him in the film. We think it's Captain America, but then we see that he's truly the Human Torch. And adding to this, we see how instead of saying Avengers Assemble, he says Fire Assemble. It's just so funny. Obviously, as we saw in the film, he gets killed up by Pyro. Well, not Pyro, but Cassandra Nova with a fight with Pyro. We see someone that controls fire against someone that is technically fire. So it's so cool to see this, and I absolutely love the VFX of this scene. Also, something that I cannot wait to see is how they're gonna include this VFX into the Fantastic Four film releasing in 2025. But by including all of these cameos, Marvel is sending several messages. Nothing is off limits. Any past Marvel property, any character, or any actor could be incorporated into the MCU multiverse. Fans should be ready for surprising returns and crossovers. The pre-MCU Marvel films are not being ignored or discarded, but integrated into a larger narrative. Obviously, this approach allows Marvel to leverage its entire cinematic history, turning potential continuity conflicts into exciting storytelling opportunities. But obviously, so awesome to see Johnny Storm shout Fire Assemble from the clear play on the iconic Avengers Assemble, delivered by Chris Evans himself in Avengers Endgame. So yes, this was such a nice joke, and one from the many jokes in the film. But yes, what's next? Spider-Man variants having a dance-off, Wolverine arguing with Wolverine. But who's the Wolverine as Wolverine? At this point, anything's possible, and that's what makes it so damn exciting. One thing's for sure, Marvel's playing the long game, and this Human Torch cameo is just the beginning. The multiverse is just expanding, it's on fire, no pun intended, and we're all just getting started in this ride. My name is Christian from Being Premiere, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, one.